Tonight's game is brought to you by our amazing sponsors, and by viewers like you on Patreon. When you use the links in the description, you're helping us keep the channel going, so thank you. Patrons get access to our Discord community, early video releases, and higher tiers even get exclusive behind-the-scenes content and commentary. Sign up today and join the crew. And of course, don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps us out. Now, let's start out by showcasing our fighters this evening. First, we have Ryan, piloting Tivit, Seller of Secrets. This is a control deck that uses Tivit to generate mana and cards while controlling the board. It then closes out the game with Tivit and Time Sieve to take infinite turns. Next, we have Micah, piloting Plagon, Lord of the Beach. This deck's goal is to cast and flicker Plagon to draw a ton of cards before winning the game with a number of convoluted Azorius combos. After that, we have Corey, piloting the partner pair of Tymna the Weaver and Thrasios, Triton Hero. This is a mid-range deck that uses its commanders to generate card advantage. It then wins by creating infinite mana and dumping it into Thrasios. Finally, we have Sasha, piloting the partner pair of Rograkh, son of Rograkh, and Silas, Seeker Adept. This is a fast combo deck that tries to cast ad nauseum as quickly as possible. It then closes out the game with Underworld Breach or Thassa's Oracle. Without further ado, let's start this scary, salacious, surreal salvo. Sasha caught the most fish and gets to start us off. Sasha draws a card for turn and plays an Underground Sea. She pays 2 life to cast Jataxian Probe, targeting Corey. She looks at Corey's hand and draws a card. She casts Chrome Mox, imprinting Imperial Seal. She casts her commander, Rograkh, son of Rograkh. She passes. Ryan draws and plays a Command Tower. He casts an Esper Sentinel and passes the turn. Micah draws and plays an Ancient Tomb. He taps it to help cast an Arcane Signet. Esper triggers and Ryan draws. He gives the turn to Corey. Corey draws, plays an Underground Sea, and passes. At the end of Corey's turn, Sasha casts Tainted Pact. Esper triggers and Ryan draws. She exiles from the top of her library until she reveals a deflecting swat, putting it into her hand. The table takes notice as the turn moves to Sasha. Sasha draws and plays a Watery Grave, into play untapped, paying 2 life. She casts Thassa's Oracle. Oracle enters, Sasha holds priority and casts Demonic Consultation. Esper Sentinel triggers and Ryan draws a card. In response, Ryan casts Force of Will, paying a life and exiling a blue card, targeting Consultation. In response, Sasha casts Deflecting Swat for its alternate cost, targeting Force of Will. Ryan asks the table for help, but unfortunately, no one saw a turn 2 win attempt in this meta. With no other response, Swat changes the target of Force to Swat itself. Force fizzles and Consultation resolves. Sasha names Silas, Seeker Adept, and exiles her library. Oracle's trigger resolves, and Sasha wins the game. On turn 2. Before we get into tonight's game, I wanted to talk about the sponsor for this video, Card Conduit. Card Conduit is a service that takes the hassle out of trying to offload your extra cards. They provide top buy list value for your cards without all the extra effort of traditional buy listing. The service is quick and easy. Simply send them your unsorted cards, and then Card Conduit will sort, grade, and find the best buy list price for each of your cards. They are fully transparent, giving you a detailed report of exactly what you sent and what they are paying you for each card. You can also see exactly what you'll get for your cards ahead of time by going to their price check tool on their website. Their fees are reasonable and their customer service is fantastic. They process quickly and submit their payments super fast. I personally used Card Conduit twice before they ever became a sponsor. They were amazing, guiding me through the process and clarifying any questions or hesitations that I had. I got a fair price for my cards, and they literally saved me dozens of hours in the process. If you sign up with my link in the description below or use the promo code POWER, you will also get 10% off of their fees when you use their service. So give Card Conduit a try today. I will be using them for all of my extra cards from now on, and I recommend that you do the same. Before Game 2, Micah has a pre-game action and puts Gemstone Caverns onto the battlefield with a luck counter, exiling a card. Corey draws a card for turn and plays a Verdant Catacombs. He cracks it, pays a life, and fetches up an Underground Sea onto the battlefield. He passes. Sasha draws and casts her commander, Rograkh, son of Rograkh. She plays a Scalding Tarn for turn. She cracks it, pays a life, and fetches up an Underground Sea onto the battlefield. She passes to Ryan. Ryan draws and casts a Mox Diamond, discarding an Ancient Tomb. He ships the turn. Micah draws and plays an Ancient Tomb. He taps it to cast an Arcane Signet. He passes. At the end of Micah's turn, Corey casts Vampiric Tutor. In response, Sasha casts her own Vampiric Tutor. They both fetch up cards onto the top of their libraries and lose 2 life. The turn moves to Corey. Corey draws and plays a Tropical Island. He casts Mystic Remora. He ends his turn. Sasha draws and continues to copy Corey by casting her own Mystic Remora. Corey's Remora triggers and she draws. Sasha moves to combat and makes a statement by attacking Ryan with Rograkh. Ryan takes the psychic damage from being hit with Rograkh, and Sasha ships the turn. Ryan draws, takes no actions, and passes. At the end of Ryan's turn, Micah flashes in Felia, Exuberant Shepherd. Micah draws and taps Ancient Tomb to help cast his commander, Plagon, Lord of the Beach. Plagon enters and Micah draws a card. He plays a Misty Rainforest for turn. He moves to combat and attacks Sasha with Felia. Felia triggers, exiling Plagon. Sasha takes it, Micah moves to his end step, and Felia triggers. Plagon returns, Felia gets a counter, and Micah draws a card. The turn moves to Corey. During his upkeep, Corey pays to keep his Remora. He draws, plays a Savannah, and passes. During her upkeep, Sasha exiles Simeon's Spirit Guide from her hand to pay for Remora. She draws, plays an Ancient Tomb, and ships her turn. Ryan draws and misses his second land drop. His risky keep didn't pay off, so he goes to order some pizza and passes the turn. At the end of Ryan's turn, Micah cracks his Misty Rainforest, pays a life, and fetches up a Tundra onto the battlefield. He casts Enlightened Tutor. Both Remora's trigger, and Sasha and Corey draw. Then Micah fetches up a Rhystic Study onto the top of his library. The turn moves to Micah. Micah draws and taps his Ancient Tomb to help cast a Rhystic Study. Both Remora's trigger, and Sasha and Corey draw a card. Study resolves, and the table straps in. Micah plays Otawara, Soaring City as his land for turn. He moves to combat and attacks Sasha with Felia. Felia triggers, and Micah exiles Plagon. Sasha takes a hit, and Micah moves to his end step. Plagon returns, and Felia gets a counter. In response to Plagon's trigger, Corey flashes in a Fairy Mastermind. Rhystic triggers, and Micah draws. Fairy Mastermind resolves, then Micah draws a card through Plagon. The turn moves to Corey. During his upkeep, Corey pays for his Remora. He draws and plays an Otawara, Soaring City as well. He gives the turn to Sasha. During her upkeep, Sasha taps Ancient Tomb to pay for her Remora. She draws and casts Mox Diamond, Rhystic and Mystic trigger, and Corey and Micah draw. Mox enters, and Sasha discards Otawara, Soaring City. Now that everyone has shown each other their Otawaras, she passes to Ryan. Ryan draws and praises the gods. He plays a Marsh Flats as his land for turn. He cracks it, pays a life, and fetches up an Underground Sea onto the battlefield. He casts Demonic Tutor. Rhystic and 2 Mystics trigger, and everyone draws. Tutor resolves, and Ryan fetches up a card into his hand. He passes. At the end of Ryan's turn, Micah flashes in a Valley Floodcaller. Micah draws and plays a Flood Farm Verge. He taps his Ancient Tomb and pays 2 life to cast Phyrexian Metamorph. It enters as a copy of Plagon and dies immediately. It triggers, and Micah draws 2 cards. Fairy Mastermind triggers, and Corey draws a card. Micah moves to combat and attacks Sasha with Felia. Felia triggers, exiling Plagon. Sasha takes 4, and Micah moves to his end step. Plagon returns, Felia gets a counter, and Micah draws through Plagon. He passes, discarding to hand size. During his upkeep, Corey lets his Remora die. He draws and casts Smothering Tithe. Mystic and Rhystic trigger, and Micah and Sasha draws. In response, Micah casts Swan Song, targeting Tithe. Mystic triggers, and Sasha draws a card. Tithe is countered, and Corey creates a 2/2 bird. Finished up, Corey passes, discarding to hand size. During her upkeep, Sasha lets her Remora die. She draws and plays a Flooded Strand. She cracks it, pays a life, and fetches up a Volcanic Island onto the battlefield. She taps Ancient Tomb to help cast a Soul Ring. Rhystic triggers, and Micah draws a card. She casts Jessica's Will, choosing both modes, targeting Micah. Rhystic triggers, and Micah draws again. Mastermind triggers, and Corey draws a card. In response, Micah flashes in a Mox Opal through Valley Floodcaller. He flashes in Chrome Mox, imprinting Polywog Prodigy. He flashes in Archivist of Ogma. With no other actions, Jessica's Will resolves. Sasha adds 5 red and exiles Beseech the Mirror, Deadly Rollick, and Blood Crypt off of the top of her library. She casts Deadly Rollick from exile for its alternate cost, targeting Valley Floodcaller. Rhystic triggers, and Micah draws. In response, Micah flashes in a Mox Diamond, discarding an island. He casts Misdirection for its alternate cost, exiling a blue card, targeting Deadly Rollick. Misdirection resolves, changing the target of Rollick to Rograkh. Rograkh is exiled, and Sasha follows up by casting Harnfell, Horn of Bounty. She activates Harnfell, discarding a card and exiling Ragavan, Nimble Pilferer, and Polluted Delta. She activates Harnfell, discards a card, and exiles Mindbreak Trap and Praetor's Grasp. She casts Cabal Ritual with Threshold. Micah draws through Remora, and Sasha adds 5 black. She casts Beseech the Mirror, sacrificing Soul Ring as a bargain, and Micah draws again. She fetches up an Underworld Breach into exile, casting it for free. Rhystic triggers, and Micah draws again. In response, Micah casts Cloud Shift, targeting Plagon. Plagon flickers, and Micah draws a card. Still in response, Micah flashes in a Mystic Remora. He casts Retraction Helix, targeting Valley Floodcaller. This is game over, so in response, Sasha casts Mindbreak Trap from exile for its alternate cost, targeting Retraction Helix. Mystic and Rhystic trigger, and Micah draws 2 cards. In response, Micah casts Force of Negation, exiling a blue card, targeting Mindbreak Trap. In response, Sasha activates Harnfell, discarding a card and exiling Ditaxian Probe and Dark Ritual. She activates Harnfell, discarding a card, exiling Crystal Vein and Verdant Catacombs. She activates Harnfell, discarding Thassa's Oracle, exiling Mox Amber and City of Traders. Unfortunately, she did not find what she wanted, and Force of Negation resolves, countering and exiling Mindbreak Trap. Still in response to Retraction Helix, Corey casts his own Mindbreak Trap for its alternate cost, targeting Retraction Helix and Underworld Breach. Rhystic and Mystic trigger, Micah draws through Mystic, and Corey pays for Rhystic. With no other actions, Mindbreak Trap exiles both spells. Next, Sasha pays 2 life to cast Ditaxian Probe from exile, targeting Micah. Micah draws 2 through Mystic and Rhystic, and Sasha looks at Micah's hand, then draws a card. She activates Harnfell, discards a card, and exiles Raucous Theater and Talisman of Creativity. She casts Dark Ritual, and Micah draws 2. She adds 3 black, then casts Praetor's Grasp from exile, targeting Micah. Micah draws 2, then Sasha fetches up a card from Micah's library into exile face down. She casts Mox Amber from exile, paying for Rhystic, and Micah draws through Mystic. After that massive turn, and unfortunately out of gas, Sasha ships the turn to Ryan. Ryan draws, eats some of the pizza he ordered earlier, and passes the turn. At the end of Ryan's turn, Micah flashes in a Springleaf Drum. During his upkeep, Micah lets his Remora die. he draws and casts Mox Amber. He taps Ancient Tomb to help cast Ranger Captain of Eos. Ranger Captain enters, and in response, Micah sacrifices Ranger Captain, locking out opponents from non-creature spells this turn. He then fetches up an Esper Sentinel into his hand. He casts Ghostly Flicker, targeting Tundra and Archivist of Ogma. He holds priority and flashes in Naru Meha, Master Wizard. Naru enters, copying Ghostly Flicker, targeting a land and Naru Meha. Micah presents a loop of flickering lands and Naru Meha through Ghostly Flicker, tapping the land each time he flickers it. He adds infinite mana. Still in the loop, he targets Plagon. Plagon and Naru Meha flicker, and Plagon triggers. In response, Ryan flashes in and Orcish Bowmasters. Bowmasters enters, Ryan pings Micah and amasses Orcs 1. With the Plagon trigger still in the stack, Micah channels Touch the Spirit Realm, exiling Orcish Bowmasters. Then the Plagon's trigger resolves, Micah draws, Fairy Mastermind triggers, and Corey draws. Micah continues the loop, flickering Naru Meha and Plagon, drawing his library before stopping the loop. He casts Thassa's Oracle. Oracle enters, and Micah wins the game. Ladies and gentlemen, what an interesting set of games tonight. The most valuable card in tonight's first game, sponsored by Luxury Playstyle, goes to Thassa's Oracle. While CEDH doesn't have as many turn 2 wins as some outsiders would expect, they still do happen occasionally. The Oracle is often the catalyst of those wins. Needing only 2 cards and 3 to 4 mana to win the game makes it one of the most consistent and cleanest win conditions in the format. This card is run in basically every deck containing blue and black. The most valuable card in Game 2 goes to Felia, Exuberant Shepherd. This unassuming little dog allowed Micah to gain early card advantage while the other engines were trying to get going at the table. This gave Micah the fuel he needed to ramp up into the mid-game, catch up to his opponents, and eventually take over with Rhystic Study. Well, that about wraps it up for this episode. Tune in next time and we duke it out to see who will be king of the competitive EDH table. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.